Good morning. So we'll start with a basic introduction. So I'll start with myself. I am Ranal. So this is the first day we think we'll start with the demo session and the zero session, and then we'll proceed with the basics, and then we'll gradually go through the advanced topic. To be specific, my background, I am having almost 15 years plus experience in the IT industry, and I've been working with this cloud native technologies for quite some time, like Golang, microservices, Docker, Kubernetes, all these cloud native technologies and different domains like telecom, storage, networking, and security. Several domain expertise I am having it. So because we have several kind of experience and several few more people might join us, we might have like a fresher background as well. So we'll start with very simple basics and all, and then we will go gradually go into details and then more advanced formats. So we'll start with a very basic introduction, Golang. So why we will talk about here we basically will talk about why Golang was introduced, and what is the benefit of it, and how is it competitive in today's world and today's cognitive technologies, and how does it fit everywhere. So those things we are going to talk about, and how is it going to be helpful in real world, and we're going to talk about some interactive demo projects as well. So we can probably give you some links and then URLs and then some of the materials wherever possible for the reference. And we'll have live coding sessions with every sessions going forward, right? So we'll start with session basic day 01 today, and then we'll start with session 1 where we'll be talking about very basic data types and all those get started code like with hello world programs and all, and then we'll go on. So now, why to choose Go, right? So there are several reasons. So even if there are a lot of languages and technology in the market, so where does Go stand, and how Go is going to compete, or how does it meet the high demand skills? So Go was started in 2009 with a purpose mainly for simple design. Simplicity was the main selling point, or I would say basic requirement of Golang. So and second thing is that it is very fast, lightning fast, and because we have and another key selling point of Golang is concurrency. Concurrency is built in Golang, right? Concurrency is like it's a little bit different from parallelism. Though it looks like similar, but it is a little different than parallelism. So it is designed specifically for keeping this modern new label for hardware design in mind, so that we can always make sure that there's no resource wastage. So it will be always making sure that modern level new hardware resources are always usable to the full potential. So, and we also have standard libraries. When we say standard libraries, basically for a lot of common use cases, right? They have inbuilt libraries, and also it has a very big or very vast, community support as well for several, key useful scenarios. And it's one of the niche skill, of course. So that's why it is highly popular. So now, where does Golang fit in context of modern technologies, and who are the tech giants that use Golang specifically as a main language, as you, on your screen, as you can see? So the cloud and DevOps, like Docker and Kubernetes, Terraform, Prometheus, all these things make use of Golang, and then they fit well with Golang in terms of cloud native applications. Right? Let's say you build an application using Go, and it is very easy to deploy in terms of microservices and make full use of microservice concepts, basically. So tech giants like Google, originally it was started, Golang was started at Google, of course. So Google, Uber, Dropbox, Twitch, and Discord, these are the few user organizations which make use of Go. So now let's talk about our learning journey. So I think we'll have a 7 to 8 weeks of intensive program. So we'll have daily 1 hour session study for today, and Monday onwards we'll start have the full place studying, and we'll have a line by line. We have a planned approach for completing this course. So we'll have really 1 hour session mostly. We'll have hands-on approach and real world project we'll talk about, and we'll talk about industry best practices. So there are mostly we'll talk about a few first. first couple of let's say 15, 20 minutes, we'll talk about the concepts every day, which will start with the basic concepts and all, and then we'll talk about actual live coding and live sessions where we can, if you want, you can do run a long code, or also you can at the end we'll probably save them to GitHub repo, something we'll plan, and then probably you can reference it later. That is also possible. It will at the end we'll give you the link. So after the class, you can go back to this GitHub repo and refer the code we just discussed. Right. So those are the things, and at the end, last 15 minutes or 10 15 minutes, we'll keep it for any question and answer sessions, any specific discussion you want to have, kind of things we will have. Okay, that's the plan we have. So now what we will master in this course, and what are the things that you will accomplish at the end of the by the end of this whole session series. So that is the first thing is that language fundamentals. So very core concepts like function, methods, data structure, and the very core concept of Golang specifically, which is concurrency pattern. So that's we are going to talk about it details, and we'll talk about several scenarios also where it will be useful, and how it can be enhanced further. So now advanced topic also we'll talk at the end, right? Like web development, so basically FTP server, this kind of basic uh, server implementation. We will talk about that. We'll talk about database integration, microservices, and basically the cloud development. So these are the advanced topics also we are going to talk forward. So this is just a gist of it. So probably we'll have it when we have a dev down. So we'll have a no detailed discussion on that. So now today we are going to talk about two demo projects. One is basic code of the day app we can start with, and then we will have another basic application. So these are the things we are going to do now today. So now before we get started, there are a few basic things that we'll talk about. First is programming concept, and then I hope you guys are familiar with a little bit of Git Basic, because I understand if you guys have worked on any other language also, Git is something you have worked with. Otherwise, we will just go through some basics also in future classes. Otherwise, we'll get started with Go installation and configurations. Basically, how do we get started, right? So before starting with Go programming, we need to set up our systems with Go installation and VS Code extension, because that's the ID we're going to use mostly throughout the sessions. Okay, just give me a moment. Let me start with the first session today. Start with setting up Golang. So I already have this website open. Probably we can get started from here. We'll start with Golang installation, basic installation first. So we can go to the Go Dev website, and there is a download option here. Right now, I can go and get started there. So now, depending on your architecture, wherever you are trying to install, maybe you are trying to install on a local machine, or let's say on a remote server. So depending on the architecture of that, you can pick up the correct package accordingly. Right. So I'm using Macintosh, Mac OS. That's why I'm going to make use of this. Either one of this you can use depending on the again architecture of your Mac OS. If it is Apple Intel 64-bit processor, which is the older MacBooks, probably you can make use of this. Otherwise, definitely I would, if it is M1 series, probably I would suggest you to go for this. This is highly optimized for Mac OS M1 processor and M series processor. Okay. Let's download this. Once it is downloaded, let's go and try to install this. Let's say, did I download the wrong one? Be having a package here. Once that's the one we need to make use of. Okay, so we'll start with basic installation. Okay, so basically you can choose where to install. I'll go with the default location. If you want, you can change it here. So if you want to, once you're done, you can remove it. Otherwise, you can install it. So now let's open a, let's go to our Visual Studio Code and let's see if we have installed over Golang or not. So as you can see, it's saying Golang command is not found, right? I'll just close this and reopen once. So now we have to restart the uh, console or let's say maybe reload so that this Go installation will reflect. I think that once you are installing, it'll take care of the setting the path and all. So you don't have to do manually. Not probably in Linux installation. Probably you can if you are installing it through a package and I mean unpacking to a particular location. Probably you might have to set that as a Go path accordingly. So now let's take a look at the take out some look at what are the basic environment variables we have set. Can try do that by type env. So yeah, so if you can see, say go path. Yeah. So this is the path this is the go path. This is the very important Go environment variable that we have to generally set in case of installation. But in my case, when I installed it through our installer, it automatically set for. So now let's start with the basic Go version command. So like we have our Go 1.25 installed. So there are few basic commands we'll start with today, and then we'll talk about how do we get started with the Hello World program. Now let's go back to a slide. Okay. So as you can see, we have gone to the Scodev site and we have chosen our installer and then we followed installation and we are done with our Go installation. We have installed correctly Go 1.25 version. So now how do we set up our workspace basically? So workspace is nothing but a space where you are going to set up all your projects and all. So that's why we are going to create a new directory and I already have created one directory for myself so that we can proceed on the same. And then we'll start with our basic Go program. Okay, so now let's go back to our VS Code. Yeah, then I do it full screen for easier. So let me clear the screen. So I have basically created a directory. So let's say day zero, and then at that I will start with the let's say quote of the day program, or let's say hello world program, or anything as such. We can get started with that. Okay, let me start with hello world program. Let's say we'll create a new file here. We'll call it hello.go. So now, as soon as I created a new folder, you can see that I have got this automatically added. So how does that happen? So probably we will just see after we install VS Code. I mean, VS Code is already installed. Probably if you want and instruction for that, probably I can share you a link. How do you get started and with the VS Code? But if you already have this, that's cool and good. We'll talk about basic plugin with VS Code. That is the Scope plugin, Go official plugin. It will give you all this rich language support, basically all the IntelliSense, all the basic code tools and all that is going to help us. So I already have it installed properly. Once you are setting up it from the scratch, you have to install this particular Go plugin. So there are another code runner plugin which I have, which I will talk about and going forward. It's this basically very helpful. Okay, so now we'll start with the import statement. So this is the first package that we already have defined. So let's say generally when you the folder name it gets start it's gets created automatically. Otherwise, if you want, you can write anything like let's say if I want to do package main package. Okay, let me disable this. I think it's you guys might get confused with this. Okay, now let's see if it's better. So we'll avoid unnecessary confusion. So now, so package met. So this is the main package. So Golang is a very modular language, right? So you can define your own packages. You can make use of external packages. Packages are nothing but a collection of certain source codes which you can reuse in future going forward, I would say. Right. So that's let's say we are starting with the package men here. Then we will go and we'll write import. Let's say what are the basic packages you want to test. So let's say we want to start with very basic hello world program, right? So all that we want to do here is a print basic string or statement, right? So we need format package for that. We'll call it fmt package we are looking for here. So so when you want to import multiple packages, there are different ways we can do that. So first of all, we can do it simply like another package. Let's say import say math in case we need it, right? But when there are a lot of packages, instead of doing right continuously import, so there is another option which we can make use is like this. So that way we can take our all the package list here and this. Okay. So now don't worry about this underlying things because we are not using it. That's what if I over on this, you can see it's complaining about format imported and not used. Going forward, we're going to use it. So as soon as one good thing about VS Code is that if you are having any unused code, it automatically delete them as soon as you save it. So if you see, I'll save it. I started saving it. See, all unused code are gone, right? So that's a good thing about Golang. So let's come back. So I'll just revert the changes and have it simple for now. Okay, so this is the import statement we are going to make use of, and then we start about the entry point. So every program has an entry point, and that is main usually, right? So in Golang also it is mostly more similar, right? We'll start with func main. So this is the syntax that we follow in Go for starting creating a function. So there are different functions. So going with parameters, with return types. So we are going to talk about that in details in future sessions. But for now, let's start with function main, and we are going to start with let's say very basic program like fmt dot println. So you can see as soon as I type, it automatically shows me suggestions, right? So these all things are happening because of this Golang plugin that we have installed here. This Go plugin. This is what is giving us this IntelliSense support. So this is going to be very useful for you if you are programming yourself. So probably once we are done with the session, you can go home and then you can set up the specific things and get started so that in future session classes, future sessions, you can do a run along or you can probably try it at yourself, right? Okay, so now let's go back to our code. There are several functions we format package suggest provide. So let's say basic talk. Let's talk about rental then. So let's say hello plus. Okay. So let's say so let's say we have a string right now, right? So we have a string literal here which we are going to print out. So now this is a very basic hello world program when we are done with it, right? So here we don't have much complications. We have a very basic package main. We have an import statement. We have a function, and we have a simple print statement, right? So now how do we run it, right? So come back to our command prompt. So we can use external command prompt also because Visual Studio has an integrated command prompt. So that's why I'm making use of it. So let's check which path here. Okay, we have correct path. So now let's go to phase 0 folder. This is the directory we are in. And now let's try to, let's say, go build. This is the way we build a Golang program. So now if you see, it is currently saying that we cannot find a main module, right? And but not found and git config and okay, so it is complaining here that this module is not found, right? Because now Go implements a modularization structure, or Go mod is something that you need to create for every Go file if it is not created in the beginning. So for that, what we are going to do is that we are going to start with Go mod init, and then let's say main or any name. So as such, let's change this package to day0 only. Okay, so let's say we have day0 package. So we are going to give our module name as day0. So now as soon as I do that, so go mod init. Okay. So what this command does is that it initializes the module for this particular folder, let's say particular package, right? So now if you can see go mod, so it has very few content, very simple content. So first is module name, right? Module day0, and then go version. So we already have this go version 1.25.0. That's why that's the version it is. Right? So this is where we define the particular version. Let's say why this is useful. This module, basically, let's say you might have 1.25 installed on your machine, but on the target server where you're running, you might have a different version for that. So this is where we are basically setting the minimum version requirement. So there is another concept in the latest versions and all, like toolkit and all, so that we will talk about that later. Right. So for now, let's keep it simple. And we'll have module and we'll have the Golang version. These two are the content of the Go module. There is one Go sum file will be coming. We'll talk about that, which will save the checksum of all the packages that we're using. When we'll talk about external package uses, we'll go and see go.sum. Right? But now Go mod is the main thing that we'll have. So now let's try to build. So build hello.go. So now you can see it is built successfully. Right? So now we have to see. Now let's try to. Now this is how we built it. Now how do you run this program? Right? So we have written this code, we have to make sure that this is printed on the console, right? So for that, what we'll do is that go run hello.go. So now it is saying package line argument is not a main package. Okay, so it's saying it is not a main package, so we need to have a main package. It is expecting a main. Okay, so you need to have a main package here, and let's say if you want to create another one, let's say I created day one folder, not here. Let's say day one. Here I can have another package. So, but the entry point wherever our main function is that we need to have it, keep it in the main package. That's what it was complaining about, as you can see. So this package name will be main, but you can still have your module name as, day0. There's no problem for that. You can change it to anything. So, but whenever we give this go mod init command, so there you have to give the name, whatever you want to keep in the module file. Okay, so now we have the basic Golang program running, and we can see this. So now let's talk about very basic parameters like our data types. We're going to talk about very basic structures. We'll talk about simple data types, and then we'll talk about composite data types as well going forward. So now let's talk about come here. Once again, let's see what else we have to cover today. Okay, we'll talk about OID setup we have already done. Yeah, so now let's talk about this basic Go tools. Okay, so Go run and Go build we have done. Now let's go back to our ID. Okay. So now let's talk about those two commands. Go format. Okay. So this tool doesn't do much here, as you can see. But when let's say I use normal, simple, our notepad or something to write this code. Right now, I'm using an editor, so that's why it is automatically helping me format this code. Like as soon as I, let's say if I this the one formatted code and then go and save it, right? So this is still in a formatted way, right? So go format. Let's say if I have some bucket missing, let's see what does it say. So this is going to basically help us formatting the Golang code. Let's say if any issue with the formatting, like tabbing, like we have some brackets missing. So those things it will help us to format the code basically. Now we have a go test, right? So go test command. I think we are going to talk about when we write unit test case for this basic function, right? So that time we will talk about go test exactly. But that just for your understanding, go test this command, right? It's going to help you run the not test cases, unit test cases. Okay, Golang has unit test case inbuilt option, so we can make use of that. Okay, so far, okay, so it's saying no test file. That's why it is not running test cases because yeah, when we go and define a new test cases, and that has a different format and some basic requirements. That we'll talk about that. So far, any question, please?
So, Mrunal, we need.
Yeah, sorry. I wonder about the recording. Have you started the recording or no? Well, I can see you started the recording. You need the
Sorry?
recording.
Yeah, we are doing the code here.
No, I mean not the code. Do you record
Recording.
the session? Yeah. Have you
We are not
recorded?
doing it. No, we are not doing it. So probably if you want, probably going forward, new future session, we will think about it. We'll discuss and we can record the sessions. So
Okay.
this is the initial day zero sessions. I think from Monday onwards we'll start. I mean, we might have to be more people joining us. Okay, so that day probably we'll get started. So this is basically a very demo session for the very basic to get started with installation and all those things to set up all those basic things and have a quick introduction so that we can get started. So yeah, we'll have probably we'll discuss with the team and then plan something on that. So in case if you want to refer that, probably you can go back. But anyway, so this coding part, once right now this is a very simple program. So but every session as soon as we code, right? So those codes we're planning to keep it on a GitHub repo, and probably I'll send you the link up to the in the chat or over somewhere during the session, so you can note that down. So from there, I can daily code, so you can download and refer that also. Right? If you want to change anything, you can download it and try it yourself and explore it yourself. Sorry, there was another question. I missed that.
Yeah,
Can you please
uh, yeah. For deploying the Go language code, right? Do we need to have code coverage, or do we need to write test classes for the
Yes, we'll come
file?
through that. Yes, we will. We'll write unit test cases. We'll talk about code coverages. We'll talk about benchmark testing. We'll talk about profiling. All these details we're going to talk about in future sessions.
Yeah.
So we have different tools for that, inbuilt tools to check the coverage, co-coverage and all. And we have line by line coverage. We can take function coverage, different types of coverages are there. We're going to talk about that in future sessions. Yes. Any other questions we have?
Do you also plan on discussing the common errors that we encountered during the coding?
Are you meant to say the syntax errors, or you are talking about the running the runtime errors, or what are you talking about?
Talking about the runtime error, not the syntax errors.
Yes, we will. We'll talk about panics. We'll talk about recovers. We'll talk about unexpected scenarios. We'll talk about all that in details. Yeah, we have those plans covered in those all sessions. So we'll go step by step. We already have a 7 to 8 weeks plan for every day. What are the basic sessions and all? We'll do a brainstorming at the end. We'll keep some sessions. We'll keep some time, as I mentioned, for question and answer for the session also. So once we are done with this whole course, so anything else missing or any Advanced technology you want to talk about, probably we can plan for something for that. We'll see. Okay, if time permits, we'll go for that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also, do you mind giving some sort of a task by end of the day or end of each class so that
yeah,
and
assignments.
yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'll probably give you that so you guys can explore yourself. As I mentioned today, we spoke about basic installation of Golang, right? So I would suggest everybody probably you can get started with that basic installation of Go and get the VS Code handy, VS Code installation ready with you. So okay, so if you want to see where do you want to install this from, I'll just quickly show you that as well. So you can always go to, you can search VS Code, okay, Visual Studio Code.dev. That's the website you want to go. Oh, sorry, my bad. Let me go back to browser. So this is basically the web version of the Visual Studio Code that what I'm running right now locally. So you need to go to here Visual Studio Code, the first URL, and see. I'm getting an option to download from macOS because I'm already on Mac. So similarly, you will get it in your option, or you can always go to this download button and then select which one to choose. So if you'll come to this page, code.visualstudiocode.com.download. I'm just going to ping this over the chat if possible. I don't know whether you guys have all access to this chat, but I'll try to keep it there. Okay.
I think we don't have access to the chat.
Okay. Fine. Never mind. You can take a screenshot if you want, or probably code.visualstudio.com to download. This is where you have to go and download the respective versions. I have downloaded from a Mac. If you're Windows, you have Windows, you can download from here. Okay. This is make sure you download actually the GUI version. The CLI version is supports only the command and stuff. So if you want to using if you're using a CLI interface only, that is going to be useful for you. Otherwise, it's generally the first option. You always choose an installer. Okay, then you click on here for Windows and here for Mac. And if you already have a Linux distribution installed, probably you can accordingly download the package and then untar it. Probably it will give I think Unzip it will give GZ as they can download that and let's get started. Okay, so that will give you a VS Code installation, and then as soon as you just to recap, you get install VS Code, you install Golang from the same path as we just saw, go.dev. This website, it has all the installations versions installed. Okay, which I just downloaded in the beginning of the session, right? You can take a look at that. Okay, another good thing and basic thing I want to talk about is Go Playground. Okay, so go.dev.play. So Golang community has a very good online ID, I would say, right? It's a very basic ID, which you might not do very advanced package level stuff here, but yeah, definitely any Golang program you want to quickly run, you can definitely make use of Go Playground. So in case you are having a difficulty, I would say you just bookmark this particular page, go.dev.play. If anyone wants to note down, probably note down that that's going to be very handy for you. So anytime, so like I don't need any ID to run this program. I can just go quick to this URL in the browser and then type any code and this and this. I can just test it. Let's say I'll just change it. So you can choose what version you want to. I think generally they for backward compatibility they give two versions, last two versions. We already have 1.2i, but yeah. So once that is stabilized, I think you'll see that here also. So now you see. So this is going to be your friend throughout all the sessions. If you want to try anything, you want to check anything, you can make use of this as well. Right? This doesn't need any installation, and you just want to quickly check anything, you can make use of this. This format you see that this option. This is nothing but the Go format, right? So whenever you make something, so this is going to help you. So let's see if it works here. Okay. So if you have some big spaces and all, yeah. Any other questions you have?
Yeah, hi Munmud. I have one question. Like, as a part of web development, what we are covering, like for the messaging tools like Kafka or something, will be covered here. as a web
I think
development? Like,
Kafka, yeah, I think Kafka and gRPC, these are very advanced topic, and this is no separate from Golang trainings. But yeah, we can at the end we can talk about the basics of that, and we can say a quick overview or a sample application or something if you want. We can discuss
Mhm.
about that. Okay, so if time permits to at the end, because once you are fluent with Golang, we can definitely talk about how to do.
Okay, and one more question, like it's around like 2019 Golang was will like introduced right to this world,
Right.
but if you see like last 3 4 years, it will become boom. Like so, every most of the companies or industries are very like adapting
Yes.
for the implementing that. Is there any latest release version will impact that? I mean, is there any such kind of thing, or what happened exactly last 3 4 years with that Golang?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, right, Golang was started with a very simplicity approach, simple, meant for this. But the with the boom of the microservices, right? So Golang was very popular because it is a very it's a cloud native technology. When I say cloud native, that means it is specifically designed for this modern level hardwares and modern level different. Okay, so now we talk about specific what happened exactly, right? So Golang has I think 1.20 onwards, I think 1.18 onwards. So there are a lot of new features that is getting added, and that is why it is becoming very popular nowadays, like your features like your concurrency was there since the day one, but there are lot of new features getting added day by day with every versions, right? So they are getting started. But yeah, the boom that you're talking about, the demand that you're talking about is mainly because of the microservices and this cloud native technologies that is going to help develop a whole cloud native environment basically. So, and it works well with your cloud technologies like AWS, your Azure, GCP, all these integrations. Golang also becomes very handy or very smooth in that scenario. That is why this is becoming very popular now. Mostly microservice implementation is the main benefit here, I would say.
Okay. So, and you mentioned it like as a part of the like course, so the test coverage will be covered, right? Like
Yes, we will
whatever
talk
we
about that.
code for the web development, those are
Yes,
covered
yes,
web
yes.
testing as well, right?
Yes, yes, yes. We'll
And
talk
like
about that. And we
deployment
can
will,
talk about we'll talk about basic server starting. We can talk about basic REST API thing. Okay, that we'll talk about. Like guest port and all. We will have our postman set up locally, and then we can test that, and we can
okay, sure.
talk
And
about all
more
this.
like, so I'm very interested on like, see, already we are working, right? So we have an
Mhm.
idea like REST API and all how we handle it. But I want
Sure.
more knowledge on this like analysis part and improving the performance and all.
Mhm.
Like how much we
Mm.
can improve that performance, and is there any specific tools we can cover in this web development?
Yeah, we'll talk about. See, now if you talk about web development, so as I mentioned, we will talk about REST API and basic CRUD implementation and all. Those things we'll cover, like get, post, put, pat, all those basic things we'll cover. And I'll see if we can cover any framework or something. If it time permits, we'll talk about that also. Otherwise, we'll see. We'll have a probably advanced session for that, Gingonic framework and all. But yeah, the way the things you mentioned, like code coverage and all, definitely that is part of the whole session when we'll talk about improvement using Go profiling tools. Okay, the different tools and technologies we'll talk.
Great. Thanks.
Okay, so I
Yeah,
think from Monday
yeah,
onwards, definitely we'll start. Okay, yeah, we'll take it. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, Mronal, I have a question. I'm talking specific to my requirements. I'm a
Sure.
Salesforce developer and I want to switch to Golang.
Mhm.
So as part of the switch, right? Do I
Mhm.
need to learn DSA, system design, all this? Not particularly. I'm asking about our course. I'm just asking
Mhm.
generally. Do we need to
Yeah.
cover DSA, system design,
So, so
all
sorry, may I know what's your total years of experience so far?
3.5 years? You can make it as 4 years.
Yeah, so with this experience, I think definitely, I mean, doesn't matter which language you're learning. These are the DSA and designing is a very generic concept, right? That is going to help you in the next roles. Let's say architecture or team lead and all those roles, definitely. So yeah, you can get started with that. That is not mandatory, I would say, for this moment, at this moment, very moment. So because when you start with Golang and with a real life project, right? So they always get started with some of the design pattern. Let's say fix the Golang design pattern, or let's say so there are several design patterns specific to Go, like concurrency pattern and all. We're going to talk about that observer, and we're going to talk about maybe dependence injection or something. Those kind of design patterns which are specific to Go. Definitely we're going to talk about. But yeah, for you in your career, I would definitely suggest go ahead. Why not?
And yeah, another question: are we going to discuss garbage collection also?
Yes, we will. That is inbuilt, though. There's nothing much, but we'll definitely we can talk about deep dive into that how garbage collection works exactly. What are the things that is happening in the background? Yeah. So practically from the coding perspective, I would say there's nothing much you have to do. But yeah, there are some packages like GC collection, garbage dot collector. Those kind of methods are there. We'll talk about that. How you can interfere or intervene in those processes also. We can talk about.
Yeah.
We have that covered.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else?
Are you going to cover any of the frameworks as part of the curriculum?
Right now, it's not exactly decided, but yeah, we'll try to do Gingonic framework or something like that. Okay, which is very basic framework. Yeah, I'll go through the basics of that. We might not get chance to get a deep dive into the whole framework, but yeah, we'll definitely have we already have a plan for Gingonic basics. We'll talk about that during the web development part that he was talking, right? So that time we'll talk about how do we host your endpoint and all those things. We'll first start with HTTP package itself, basic package, and then we'll talk about the framework and what are the advantages of that. We're going to talk about. We'll see that in programming also. So answer is yes.
Is it like Gorilla Mux? Gorilla Mux and Gingani?
That also, yeah. No, both are not same. Both are different. Mux is a router that you're talking about. That is the package you can use. Gingonic is a whole framework, okay, which is specifically designed, and it gives you a lot of advantages over the language, which you don't have to manually do it. Like okay, so like it supports your the advanced structures like your context, error passing, giving meaningful error messages. That's going to take care of a lot of things inbuilt. You don't have to take care of that manually. So that way, this framework is going to be helpful. And we will also probably cover this basic database connections using some GOM or something. Okay, so that also we'll see in. Okay, those things will mostly come from 6th or 7th weeks. Okay, that advanced stuff. So we already have planned. Yes.
So are we going to connect to some database using a ORM tool or something, right?
Yeah, we'll see. Yes.
Okay.
Go ORM we'll be using. Okay, anything else you have? Okay, so I think we'll try to wrap up here today for today. So this was the demonstration. So from Monday onwards, so next week I'll just give you overview. So we're going to talk about data types. We're going to talk about simple data types and composite data types like structures and all. We're going to talk about functions, pointers. These are the basics we'll start with. Then we'll gradually first week, so we'll keep it simple, and then from second onwards we will get into details of each of them. Okay.
Is it going to be the same timings?
Most probably, yes. We will try to keep that same. Yeah, I'll talk to the team. Most probably we'll keep the same. Does this time work for everybody, by the way?
Yeah. Sorry, is just in the weekend or Monday to Friday?
Monday to Friday, not weekends. Yes.
Okay, cool. Monday to Friday.
Sure. Okay then. Thank you.